Kusu Dawal podcast gear shift. Apparently in Somali, gear shift and shift gear are backwards. That's welcome to the Shift Gear podcast in Somali. And the reason we're doing Somali is we have an epic Toronto-based sleeve brand that just came out that you may have heard of. And there's a big Somali presence in Toronto, as most of you will know. So we're doing Somali because in Peru they speak Spanish, and we've done that. So we're doing Somali. We want to shout out. We normally do like our shameless plugs at the end of the video, but I made a commercial yesterday for Endgame, just on a totally like impromptu thing. Like I was just meeting the boy at Scarborough Town Center, local Toronto joint, and we're like, "Yo, what if we film like a jokes commercial to promote these sleeves that the Shift Gear is now affiliated with?" So Kieran's never seen this. I just made it like just now, and so we're all gonna watch it together.
All right,
Um,
should I be concerned, Aneil?
Maybe. No, I'm kidding. It'll be fun. There's is a really high production value, like higher than you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, enjoy. Here you go.
All right.
Damn, bro, I can't believe I broke my sleeves again. I need some new sleeves. Let me call my plug. Yo, bro, you got the stuff?
Bro, what?
Log on, fam. Yo, I got that. 1 second.
I bet. Send the location now.
All right.
Yo, boys, I got the stuff. I know softball's next week, but we gotta get going now.
Bro, what is going on?
Endgame. Let me get that.
What?
Highest production quality of all time. So let me walk you all through this one time, all right? So our initial idea, and so the dude in the shiesty is the guy who makes these sleeves. So our initial idea was let's run these over with a car and see if they survive. But we deviated from that. And I have more commercial ideas for these in the future. But if you're interested in getting these endgame sleeves, they're now available in the link below. Like all jokes aside, these sleeves are kind of something that Kieran and I tried like 2-3 months ago, and they're dope. They're honestly really cool. And we haven't sold out on this show yet for any sort of sponsorships. You know, we actually really enjoy the sleeves because we're not really here to sell you fake dreams, but we love them. I encourage you to give it a try. We have a discount code in the link below. Use Shift Gear checkout for 10% off.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But that phone, you see that like trap phone I
The
bought?
the Fisher type.
The Fisher Price
Or
trap
Fisher
phone?
Price,
That
right?
thing was
Yeah.
that thing was $20 at Toys R Us. It was a big investment for this commercial.
Wow, bro, that's you should have got Matt to pay for it, and then that's a tax write-off for Endgame.
True, actually, and the baseball bat too from Dollarama.
that was cinema right there.
Thank you. I try to get creative, and we'll have more commercials as time goes on. But what will be really jokes is if Shift Gear comes out this week and they're all sold out. So if they're all sold out,
Yes.
forget you ever saw that. It never happened.
Well, what's it called? They came out today's Tuesday when we're recording. Came out Monday and they sold out day one. So I think Matt's was not expecting that many sales day one. So yeah, if you're in Toronto, we sell them. There's most of the local game stores have them. So no, just excited for Matt. I think it's a cool journey he's gonna go on, and we're excited to support him on the way.
To give you guys like a quick description of what the sleeves feel like, they're like in between Ultra Pros and Dragon Shields. This is kind of my best way of putting it. Like they're like katanas if katanas didn't stick.
Yeah, I mean, I've never used katanas, but they're just good. Like honestly, like if you like sleeves, just try them.
Yeah.
Like it's all personal preference, but the quality is actually good. So, yes. So all right, enough shilling, Aneil. Let's get into the gear shift. So not a lot of tournaments this weekend. I think the main one was the one in Lima in Peru, the special event there. It was taken down by Tarapagos. I think Tarapagos picking up so much steam lately. I just want to give myself a shout out for being early on that train. I knew But Giovanni.
We were done the shilling, bro.
Yeah, Giovanni, the winner here. Second at Joinville and now first at Lima. And from my understanding, he's a first-year master, so that's awesome for Giovanni.
I just want to point out as well, Giovanni is a sick name to be a Pokemon player. Like, unreal name.
Boss's orders.
Boss's orders.
Yeah, so let's take a look at his list here, Neil. He's honestly playing a pretty vanilla list. He plays Thornton, that's his like one spice, and then he plays Vitality Band. Those are his two techs. Otherwise, he has the 4/4 Noctowl, which I like. I think every list should be playing 4/4 Noctowl. I think the bird is consistent. The bird is like important.
A lot of owls.
A lot of owls, yeah. And then he plays Energy Lottery over the Coloruses Tenacity, which I think is valid. I think it's solid. Yeah, sometimes you just want to play another support in the same turn. So like play that Ion over the Research and just get the energy. If you whiff, feels bad, but it's just unlucky if that happens. So yeah, I think most Tropico lists are going to be looking like this going forward. Some like within like a few cards of this, and I think that is correct. Just taking this consistent approach to the deck.
Yeah, Colress feels like an awful card, so I really like Energy Lotto as well. I really don't like Colress, is what I've learned over the last week. Yeah, I like the band as well, because you're welcome from here, as you mentioned last year on Gear Shift. Maybe this guy listens to Gear Shift on like auto translate to Portuguese. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, like I think in general, Vitality Band and Energy Lotto, both cool inclusions.
Yep.
I like them both. Thornton, always an interesting card as well. So
yeah,
there's looks like a lot of consistency in this list. I don't know, the one thing about Terrapagos right now that sketched me out a little bit is the 101 Pidgeot. Like I know you can operate without it, but it does sketch me out a little bit. I know the list is tight, so Noctowl is always better, I guess. So you might as well max out that. Doesn't mean I like it anymore though.
I mean your odds of prizing it a piece of 20%. Like feel like 1 in 5 games you don't get to do it, which is like I think fine or a reasonable risk to take, especially in best of 3. Yeah, Vitality Band's funny. Like I said it last week, but it was funny that they played it like last week because Terrapagos wasn't that popular. And they're just like, oh, we think this deck's broken, so people are gonna play it, so we'll play that. Yeah, Thornton's the only card to me where I'm like, I've played with it, I don't love it. I just find it hard to use. Like,
yeah, it is.
Normally you have to what's it called? Like play another supporter or like Briar. Oh, also this list doesn't have Briar, but from my understanding, he had like a deck list there. Like Briar is supposed to be in the deck, and he still won without the Briar.
Damn, bro. Wait, hold up. How do you have a deck list error but not end up with a basic energy? Do you mean like he put in the wrong card?
Yeah, I think he like put 60 cards and one of them wasn't Briar, from my understanding. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But...
Yeah, that would be tough. If you end up with a basic energy in this deck, oh man, that is tough.
A basic energy, I mean, I guess you play Energy Lotto and like you can maybe attack with Fan Rotom or Ursaluna earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or if you get templed, I guess you have a basic energy.
Yeah. So that'll be funny. So yeah, actually, I have my masterclass with Rowan Tan Trafficos. I'm excited to talk about the deck. It's really fun. And we'll get
that tonight or was that yesterday?
That's tonight. So yeah, okay. We sold out. I'm surprised. I'm really excited. We put a lot of work into it. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, more shilling. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's no more shilling. It's already done. You can't sign up anymore.
Yo, you want more shilling? Yo, all mans, there's still bucket hats available. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. Yeah, that's the show. Go buy those, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, next up we have Raging Bolt got second. I mean, like I don't really have much to say. Like it's Raging Bolt, no Briar. Is this Fabrizio's list? No, this is just a unique take. So, I've noticed a couple Raging Bolts have been playing with Lost Vacuum lately. I don't know if this is mainly just for like Heroes Cage, if Charizard plays that, but otherwise, like again, standard list, like only one switch card, a little suspect, but the 3 stretcher that the Japanese player played who at the Champions League, that seems to have really caught on. It's like a nice card because like a pseudo energy retrieval, and then also just like getting that Fez back if you get counter catcher knocked out. So, what do you think, Aneil?
Yeah, I like Stretcher in this deck a lot. There's a lot of times where you need one specific card, and you're able to just nick that out with Stretcher. Yeah, other than that, it's not really much to write home about with this one. I think we can probably just move on from this.
Raging Bolt. I think the other thing that was interesting, this Charizard doesn't have a list, but there's 4 Dragapult decks that made top 8 here. And 2 of them are the Pidgeot version, so I think the community's kind of like collectively decided to move to the Dusknoir version, the one that won Dortmund. But it seemed like a couple players had some success here with Pidgeot. I haven't played
once
much
again,
of that,
and not to toot our own horn, okay? But once again, You were big on Terrapagos. I was big on Dragapult.
You were.
Now look at us. The boys, guys, shift gear stonks are up right now. Like, I got to cash in right now because I know within a week we'll be wrong. But, like, right now, we're so back. We're so back.
Yeah. So I think people value consistency. I mean, I have played the pure Dusknoir version a bit the past couple weeks, and, like, honestly, it feels so bad to get Iono'd with that version. So, like, I can kind of see why the Pidgeots, like, some people put that back in. Might be a little trickier to, like, get turn 2 Dragapult. I mean, like, is it really, though? Like, what's different about this list compared to the Dusknoir one?
Not a whole lot, to be honest.
Yeah, like, you just fit in Pidgeot and cut some, like, other cards.
As long as you still have 3 Dracloak, I think that's the biggest piece of this.
Nice little draw engine. This is interesting that when Dragapult decks were, like a few months ago when they first came out, people were playing, like, 1 Dracloak, like, sometimes 2. But yes, I think Dracloak's important. It helps you just stream your Dragapults much easier throughout the game, right? So yeah. I see the TM Diva on this list, which I also like. It makes your Charizard matchup better, mirror better as well. So
I think my one piece to this and like where you lose your consistency, especially with this version, is that you're able to get less Treepies out in general because you play the 3 lines. So
yeah,
like I think that's where your consistency kind of lacks a bit, just because you're getting less Treepies down and less Dracloaks down as a result. Like there's a lot of turns where you'll like kind of use Dracloak to like mend a bridge, so to speak. Like if you're missing one card from your Arvin or whatever, like use Dracloak, and if you don't have the extra Dreepies to like dig in with that, I think that's where you kind of lose some consistency. And I found that ever since I switched from, like, I was playing straight Dragapult Pidgeot for a long time. The list felt great, felt consistent. I was getting turn 2 Dragapult every game. As soon as I switched to a list that looked more like this, I started to struggle a little bit. So that's one thing to consider as well. Like, if you're looking to simply just play the game, I still think picking one or the other is better. But this is more of like a high roll variant. Like if you hit what you need to hit, like you will do like better overall if you hit what you need to hit, because your deck can do so much more when you have both of these pieces together. You have Dusknoir and Pidgeot, allowing you to fetch stuff out. You play Briar, you play Fish. You're able to like put together some crazy turns. The one card I really like in Dragapult that I don't like that this one isn't playing is Roxanne. I love Roxanne in Dragapult, but it doesn't seem like this one is playing that. And I know it's not a touchy pick, but a lot of people are into it. I see 5 tools here, which is really interesting to me. Defiance Band is a card that I had teched into mine to deal with Turtle. You also just hit better numbers in general with Defiance Band. It kind of opens up some avenues, but problem is when you're playing Board, Stone, Devo, Band, Crystal, like you're eventually gonna just have too many tools. So I think this list might have a little, like maybe 1 too many tools for my liking. But other than that, yeah, looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're getting full Arvin value here, so.
Oh yeah, you're never missing an Arvin with this. Yes. I'll tell you that.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. There's not a deck list for it, but there's also a Gardevoir in top 8.
Which is interesting. I wish the deck list was out.
Yes, cause I feel like this meta is so hostile for Gardevoir, to be honest. It's still fine, like it's a decent deck. Just like there's a lot of Dusknoir going around. Then Dragapult's not the best matchup, but it's like not unwinnable actually. So yeah, that's the Lima SPE.
We're not considering this SPE Mickey Mouse, right?
No, I had 300 players. Like they had a day 2. I mean, what's it called? Like the guy who won, literally got second last week at Joinville. So no, like a lot of good
I don't
players.
think it's Mickey Mouse. I just wanted to clarify because people see 308 players and they're like, "Yo, Mickey."
Yeah, a couple Americans and Canadians went and they got shut out from top 8. So. South Americans
didn't like all mans get like top 250 points.
No,
or something?
I think Zach got top 16. But yeah, I think they did points to top 64 or something for this. I can't remember exactly though.
Oh, it was only 64.
Yeah, I don't know 100%. I forget what the break point is for 128 to get points, but
because I saw a man on Twitter, and I don't know if he was trolling, but I saw a man be like, "Yo, I got 216th out of 308, and I got like 60 points."
No, there's no way.
Man. There's no way. He went like 3 and 6 or something, or like whatever, and he got 60 points. So I don't know. Like I hope that's wrong, but I could be wrong. I hope that guy was just trolling.
Here, let's see. While I look it up, Aneil.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were talking about SPEs if they should be region locked. I don't know if I feel like we might have talked about this on the show before. What are your opinions on that?
I don't know. It's such a touchy subject. I'm hesitant to say how I feel fully. I personally think they should be region locked, in my opinion.
Interesting.
I don't want to dive too much into it because like I feel like most of my basis is that I want to support like those local economies, like in terms of those player bases. I guess economy is not the right word, but those local player bases in general, like it's obviously their event, right? They don't get a whole lot of events out there. Like it's kind of their event, and I know there's a lot of defense, like from those players when like other random players show up from like halfway across the world saying like, "Hey, man, what are you doing here?" Right? So, oh, sorry, I see you have that on your screen. So there was top 128.
Yeah, 128. Yeah.
Okay, so not like 216 like
Yeah.
that guy said. But, so sorry, yeah, continue with that. Yeah, like I think it's important to protect those local player bases. I think give them their chance to shine, kind of thing. I know a lot of people play this game professionally, quote unquote. There's a lot of people who will travel to all these things, but I don't think it should be as accessible as it is for those players. I think it's okay for some of the bigger SPEs. Like I know it's tough. That's what I mean. Like that's why I don't really want to get into my opinion too much because I feel like my solution is not a rational one. But I think like the smaller SPEs should kind of be left to be like region lock those or whatever. But the bigger ones, like in places where they can have full regionals but gambling laws don't allow, I think those are fine to kind of have other people show up to. So it's like it's such a touchy subject. I don't think there's one correct answer.
Yeah, I feel like I disagree. They should be region locked. I think it's fine that they're not region locked. I think the whole like Pokemon's like a global game now. Like they've said that. I just think it makes no sense that they give the same amount of points as a regional. Like, why is a tournament that's like this one is like actually pretty large for SP 300, but sometimes like an SP will be like 150 people, and like you get the same amount of points. So like you have to go like someone who goes like 10-1-2 at a regional is getting the same amount of points as someone who goes like 5-2-1 at an SPE.
Yeah,
It just doesn't make sense to me. I think SPs are a huge issue for like competitive integrity of the circuit because of that. So like people who can't afford to just go to all of them, you can kind of like you can kind of like skirt like the invite system a little bit by like getting points easier. But I really don't have a solution for it because I think it's super important that these areas that like don't have regionals, like they get events, right? And if those players can't travel to the big regionals, like they need a way to get points to like kind of keep them in the race. So I thought maybe what they should maybe do is like for special events, like lower the points, but like maybe you do stuff like regionals where it's like you give top 2 or even maybe top 4, like you give them an invite to Worlds. That way, like you can like nerf the points, but then you can still have it so that people can make Worlds. And like if the goal of SPs is really for like areas, underserved areas, to get a chance to play and compete. So yeah, I'd say
that's kind of my basis of it too.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is, right? It's a chance for people to get a chance to play and compete. Like that's what this is.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels bad that like they give the same amount of points. So I mean like they have this year buffed how much top 8 points are. So I guess like and like nerfed a little bit like the percentage that like a deeper finish placement is, but yeah. So I mean at the end of the day, like I don't really care that much. Like if you're good enough to make Worlds, like you should be able to like beat all the people who are SPE grinders and just make it on your own. But
I think the solution is to remain hostile or become hostile to the people who go to SPEs to ruin other people's days. I think that's the solution.
But I don't think anyone goes to ruin someone's day.
I'm just playing. I saw so much like hatred towards the mans going to SPEs from like North America this weekend. I just thought it was funny. I'm not supporting bullying. I just thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Well, what's it called? I'll be at the Argentina SP, so I'm gonna get bullied the next
Yeah,
month.
I'm gonna bully you for like 3
bully me,
weeks
bro.
before that. Sup, nerd?
I'm actually curious how many Americans or North Americans will be at that, even Europeans, because like it's the week before LAIC. So if you want to go on like vacation to South America, like it makes sense to do that one.
So here's a question for you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but why is there an SPE in Argentina? Are they not allowed regionals? Like
probably, I don't know.
Are there regionals in Argentina? Like that's I think my question.
I don't think so. I can't remember the last time they've had one. I think every year they just do Chile and they do Brazil for the regionals. So
see, so that's a great example to what I was saying. Like in terms of like places that could support regionals but cannot due to like gambling laws or whatever. Like I think those are fine. I think y'all can go spam those up. For the purpose of my targeted harassment to you for the week or 2 before that event, we're gonna pretend that is not the case. And I'm gonna bully you for it. But you know, in all seriousness, like I think that's a good place where you can hold an SPE and have everybody show up to that. Like I think that is absolutely fine. But in like smaller markets or places where like these players don't get a chance to compete regularly, like ever, especially places with like struggling economies or places where like people may not be able to afford to go to as much like around them. I think those are the ones that are important to keep kind of sacred. To
Yeah, but I
keep
feel like
closer
you
to
can't
home.
pick and choose. I feel like you have to either like lock them all or like open them all, and I think just opening is makes
Oh, I
more
know.
sense. And I mean,
Yeah,
I've
that's
been to an
something.
SPE before, and I think the local players are fine with the international players coming. They don't have an issue with it. It adds more
Fair
prestige
enough.
to their event if they do well, you know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the only thing I say that's a criminal about SPEs is that Montreal doesn't have one. Like they should actually use them more. Like let's use them for more places.
Yeah, if we're
Uh,
gonna like do it, let's do it. Like
or
stand on business, bro.
give Alberta an SPE maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
give the Maritimes an SPE. Give everybody. That's what I'm saying. If you nerf the points of SPEs, you can have more of them. Uh, since like they won't be as polarizing. Give people a chance.
Well,
So.
there's all. I mean, like, there's so many arguments to be made about this whole like Canada deserves more big regionals things. But like, dude, so like, I was in Calgary this weekend for the first time in like 4 or 5 years, and that city is bigger than like 80% of the American cities we go to for regionals. And like, I was shocked. I'm like, how have we never had a regional here? Like, there are places that I think are just underexplored, and maybe there's like laws we don't know about. Maybe there's contracts you don't know about with venues and stuff. But I feel like Pokemon could really like just spread their wings here and like go to different places, go to like expand a little bit, show different player bases some love. Like we think about our good friend Jackson Ford, who grew up in Calgary, right? Like he had nothing.
No,
There's nothing out there to play.
they used to have regionals in Calgary before the modern era. Uh,
They did when it was provincials.
no, they had regionals.
Did they?
Yeah, they had one in Edmonton, Calgary.
Okay, well when it was smaller, I guess. But
Yes,
like
yeah,
now you play out in Calgary, good luck.
yep.
What are you doing? Like best of luck. And that's a big city. Like there's a large base there, and I'm sure there'd be a bigger player base and a growing market if Pokemon would just expand past Peoria. But that's a story for another day. I'm just playing. You know
Shout
how to
out
throw
Peoria.
Peoria in there. You know how to throw
Yeah.
it in there.
So, yeah, you know, let's move on here to our meta forecast. What we think about for Louisville this weekend. So we had to go off of now. We have Lima, we have Dortmund, we have Joinville, and we have Champions League Tokyo. So I think the first thing I want to talk about, Aneil, is Terrapagos. What do you think its meta share is going to be, and how do you think people are going to react to the deck kind of picking up some steam lately?
I think it's kind of hard to judge because Terrapagos can be a very intricate deck. But I don't think it has like that appeal to like newer players or people who are unconfident at this moment. Like I don't know, I picked it up and I felt like, damn, like this deck is harder than I thought for sure. Like I didn't really realize the intricacies of it before, and then now I've played a few games. Now I like completely get the deck, but at first it's kind of intimidating. So I don't think the percentage is gonna be as high as maybe it should be. I do think though that the deck is BDIF. Like I think it's amazing. I wouldn't be surprised to see close to a 20% rate. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually good. I think the deck is really fun, so I think a lot of people really like playing it. I'm gonna guess 10% this weekend. I think it had 15% day 2 in Dortmund. I think like 5% day 1 or something. So I think it'll get up to 10. I don't know. You might see people playing like more Collapse Stadium, like the Defiance Band and the Dragapult. So people are definitely, and I think a lot of lists will play Vitality for Mirror. So I think a lot of people are like aware of the deck, or gonna respect it, because I do think it had a really great showing just across the world. Pretty much Japan is the only place that didn't do that well. And Japan really get to top 16, so for all we know, there's a bunch in day 2. But yeah, I'm excited. Terrapagos is one of my top picks this weekend. Either that or Lugia for me. So no, I think Terrapagos is gonna be very well represented in both days of competition here.
Lugia feels really good as well. That was
Yeah.
something I was going to bring up. Like, Lugia feels like, I don't know, I played a few games with it. It just feels like it does pretty good into just about everything right now.
It's Terrapagos matchup, I'd say slightly unfavored, but like, yeah, it's like pretty good into almost everything else. Like, again, people are still just not playing text for it. And I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, Lugia, like, it's so good, but it's still not seeing massive play. And just a lot of decks are so tight. Like Charizard's already playing 3/1/2 Charizard. Like how are you fitting in like Temple of Sinnoh? I mean Dragapult has been playing it, I think. Like Raging Bolt's not really playing attack for it. Terrapagos isn't playing like hammers or anything. Yeah, Lugia's just solid. Like all four like major events that we've had this year, like across the world. So the 3 regionals and the Japan tournament, Lugia has been in the finals. So I mean, yeah, it just consistently performs. Like if you like playing Lugia, it's a solid deck for this weekend. I think it's gonna
like if my worst matchup, or okay, like my worst like main deck matchup is like 40-60, dude, I'm happy. I'm thrilled. Like Lugia it just has a good spread. Like you could just kind of do everything. Like of course, and we've had this conversation a million times. Yes, you are contingent on Ultra Ball double chops, but as Ciaran proved to you all in the finals on stream and in the semifinals, if you will your way to Ultra Ball double chops, you can do it. You just gotta will your way to it. I think the deck's really good when it sets up. I think Lugia is a great sleeper pick. Am I going to play it? Probably not, because I just don't like the deck. But I think it is a fantastic, fantastic pick. And if you're not playing it, respect it, please.
Yeah, would you play Rahul's list with the Raikou, or would you go a more traditional list, like the one I used in Baltimore?
That's a good question. It's a tough one to answer because it's really meta dependent, right? Like, there's so much to do with. I don't know. I think I like yours better right now. I think overall, like, you need to tech a little bit less. But again, both those decks only work if your deck allows you to.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because I think Raikou's in a really good spot here. Like half these decks play Pidgeot in the format, right? So it's like it's in a good spot. The thing is, I always have so much trouble when I try that build, like drawing the lightning energy. So it's like almost always have to legacy the Raikou, and like then I can't hands or like vice versa. So, but if you pull it off, it's like crazy strong. So I think most people are probably going to switch over to Rahul's build just because he's been doing so well. But I still think it'll be like close to 50-50 if people are playing the Raikou build or they're just playing the double Conchino build.
Yeah, I just like playing the game. Like that's, I mean, that I don't know. With Lugia, I feel like you just got to prioritize playing the game. That's what your list kind of did, right? Like it was just super consistent on every facet.
I mean, Rahul's list is still consistent. Like the only consistency card I played over him was the 4th research. So, yeah, I think you can't go wrong copying either of our lists. Also, you can copy the one that won Joinville as well. They're all good lists. So, yeah. Okay, then we have next. Let's talk about Aneil. Where does Raging Bolt kind of sit right now? I mean, I think everyone continues to just call it like Raging Mid. It had like huge play rate. It had 17% at Dortmund. It's still like converted at like 14%. I think a couple made top cut. So Neil, first, give me what do you think your meta share prediction is going to be for Raging Bolt, and then how good of a play do you think it is?
I think Terrapagos being uniformly good and people understanding that it's really good brings Bolt down. I'm going to say 10%. I think 10% is fair. Maybe a little bit more. But I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy, personally. I think it's in a good spot in the meta. Like, it's a deck that's very simple. It's linear. It does its job. Like, you know what you're getting out of the deck, which I really like. I just don't know where it really sits in this whole thing. Like, there's been so many new decks and so many different decks. Like, for example, like Palkia and like Goldengo is doing well. Terrapagos is doing well. Like, decks that people, Banette even, decks that people didn't expect to do well are doing well. So it's hard to like really grasp where this meta is at. 'Cause it feels like there's just, you can literally put like random bulk card with Dusknoir and the deck is good. So like, I don't know. Like it feels like Dusknoir just enables so much, but I like Raging Bolt because you're big HP basic. Like you fight off Dusknoir a little bit better than some of these setup decks that might just be kind of taken over by an early game. So I think Bolt's in a decent spot. I shouldn't say a good spot. I think it's in a decent spot. You know what you're going to get out of it. I don't hate the play for Louisville. I just don't think the percentage is going to be super high.
I don't know. I think it'll still be like 14-15% just because it's like a default deck for a lot of people. I think it's actually in a better meta spot than it normally is at these tournaments. I think with Dragapult getting so popular, I think that's like a fantastic matchup to pick up.
Yep.
Like Raging Bolt kind of just shreds through Dragapult. You still have Regidrago. That's still a really good matchup. Like like you said, the turtle is not a good matchup, but otherwise, like I feel like you don't have any like atrocious matchups. So yeah, I think it's fine. I think we'll still see large play rate. I think it'll have like a decent conversion, not the best, but yeah. Cool. Okay, let's talk about the evolution decks and let's go to Charizard and Dragapult. So we've been hyping up Dragapult. It won Dortmund. We just saw 4 of them make top 8 of the Lima special event. So is the meta share for Dragapult going to jump to like that 15% range, or do you think it'll stay around like 10 still?
I think it stays around 10 because it's not an easy deck to play either. I think upon picking it up, a lot of people realize that. It's like Charizard with more steps. So I don't know. Like I really like Dragon Ball. I've been hyping up Dragon Ball for almost a month now. Like it's been my pet deck for a while. I will say though that like with this bigger boom of Dragon Balls that have been coming out with these tournaments, I've liked it a little bit less recently. Just going online or whatever, playing in tournaments, and like it feels like there's a lot more hate towards it, and like it's tough when like Dragon Ball's very, I don't want to say like soft hitting, but you know what I mean. Like you're hitting 260, like you're not doing a whole lot of damage. So when people tech for you and when people like do things actively to derail your plan, it can get derailed quite fast. Like often you'll lose to a Turo or you'll lose to a random collapsed or something like that. So I find the deck's it's harder to fight off hate with the deck. I really like it though. I don't think it goes up to 15% personally. I think probably around like 10. Again with Dragon Ball, maybe a little bit less even. Like I wouldn't be surprised like 8 or 9. But I think the deck's is still in a good spot as long as everybody doesn't completely hate on it. You have the ability to wipe complete boards and like keep up with anything. You have a high amount of HP. It's just about like I think the finding the 60 cards right now is difficult because there's so many different builds for it.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you. I think just picking like which build you want to play. And like you said, I do notice sometimes it's like I don't know if fragile is the right word, but like yeah, like it's like you said, like people heal or like if they just like can stream knockouts on it, it's hard to keep setting them up. Or just like you kind of need to buy like one turn, I find, during the game, or your opponent doesn't take a knockout or like something like that. But it's like, I mean, you have so many chances by Ono counter catcher, it's not that hard. But yeah, I think it'll be around that 10% range. Then it'll see success. I'd guess at least one makes top 8 this weekend. Okay, let's move on to Charizard. So I feel like Charizard has had honestly a really disappointing run the past few months. It's consistently hyped up and then just like not performing. One made top 8 at Joinville, but kind of flopped Dortmund here. So like part of my hypothesis for that is like I haven't seen like top players playing Charizard in a while. So obviously if the best players aren't playing Charizard, like it's not going to perform as well. So that's one thing. But I think the other thing is I think maybe like the lists are just getting too tight here, or like because like it should be like decent to a lot of the decks in the meta in my opinion. And I actually think Charizard is like insanely well positioned this weekend just because Terrapagos is like seeing so much more play. Like Raging Bolt's most popular deck, that's a good matchup. Terrapagos is probably gonna jump to like 3rd or 4th most popular deck, that's a good matchup. Yeah, I think, and like Regidrago is like still popular but down from the last format. So I think the meta is like shaping up like very nicely for Charizard. So I think like I would not be surprised at all if we see a Charizard like take down Louisville this weekend.
Yeah, I think shift gear hypothesis that we proposed like a couple weeks ago that Charizard lists are getting too greedy. I think that's what this is. Like the deck is not operating at the same consistency rate as the deck used to operate, and that's obviously you're sitting there like, yeah, duh, of course you introduced a 2-1-1 line of Jank and Dusknoir. Like, yeah, I get that. But like if the deck does what it needs to do, and I think I've literally said this line the last 3 weeks, if the deck does what it needs to do, like you beat almost everything. And I think the person that maybe breaks through with Charizard is going to be the person who either high rolls life like completely, just high rolls the entire tournament, or just builds something consistent. Like I don't hate the idea of kind of going back to the roots of Charizard and like going back to its glory days, taking a list from there and maybe picking out a couple cards, updating it a little bit.
Going back to the bib.
Back to the bib. Like you just need to play the game and you'll win a lot of games. Of course, like Dusknoir like poses a huge threat to your deck. I get that. And that's why you play your own Dusknoir too, right? To kind of keep up with that. And I totally get that. I just think that the deck is strong enough to withstand almost anything, like you said. So I would love to see someone go back to the bare bones of Charizard and do well with it. Like I've been really disappointed with it so far, in terms of like where it's placed and what it's done. I think a lot of people were kind of caught off guard with that. Like you see Briar and you think immediately like synergy Charizard, like this makes so much sense. I think it still does. Just gonna take somebody to unlock it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So yeah, if you like playing Charizard, play Charizard. It's still very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think other evolution deck we can quickly talk about Gardevoir. I don't know. I think Gardevoir is like fine. I think it's solidly tier 2 though. I think all the Dusknoir decks running around is just like very scary for it. As is Charizard if you're not going to play that Devo build, because I kind of feel like you have to play a more aggressive Guardy build in this format, so you kind of have to punt the Charizard matchup a bit. So I don't need to spend a lot of time on it. I just think Gardevoir is like, if you like playing Gardevoir, I think it's still fine, but I don't think it's like that well positioned right now.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about Gardevoir either. I think it's we know what Gardevoir is, right?
Yeah.
So if you like Gardevoir, like Ciaran said, it's very viable.
Yeah.
Keep playing it. I think there's the door is always open. I think for a good Gardevoir player to go on a run.
Yes, agreed. The skill diff is big, especially I think if you're like a junior or senior. I think Gardevoir is like much better in that age division too. You can just like skill gap people much easier.
Skill gap everyone.
Yeah. Okay. The next deck, or major deck, I think I want to talk about, Neil, is the Regidrago. So it's gone down in play a lot since this last format. Like it's almost halved its play rate, but like I still feel like the deck is like tier 1, like great deck. If these Terapco decks aren't playing Manaphy, which most of them aren't, I think when I looked at the stats the other day, it's like I'll look right now, something like only like 15% are playing Manaphy or something, like 13% are playing Manaphy. So you pick up a good matchup in the Turtle. You have a good Charizard matchup. Your Dragon Bolt matchup's pretty good. It does suck that like the most popular deck, Raging Bolt, is your worst matchup. But we've seen a trend where like Raging Bolt like doesn't usually stick around the top tables. So it's like if you can get a nice little like 5-0, 6-0 start, like I feel like you should have like pretty much good matchups like every round you're sitting down. And I think the innovation from this tournament was some of the American players here. They played the Noctowl in the deck. I've messed around with the Noctowl. It actually feels great in this deck. It's a lot easier to pull off stuff like Prime Cologne, pulling off like E-Switch Iono at the end of the game. So have you played any games with the Noctowl? And if you haven't, just what are your thoughts on this? Okay, nice.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's good. I think it's like kind of difficult to find at times, and that's the nature of like a 1-1 line of Owl. But yeah, no, I like it. I think the deck. The deck towards the end of last format was kind of like veering off a little bit. Like it started to just. There's a lot of random cards in these decks. Like a lot of people doing weird stuff with Drago. I think this like baseline build with the 1-1 Noctowl provides a consistency crutch that it never used to really have.
Yeah.
Which I really like. And you have the space to play 2 stadiums now. Like you can freely cut Goodra, which is kind of sad because I loved Goodra, but I don't think you need it anymore. Just not as much mirror around and stuff. So you can do that. You gain a spot there. I like it. I just think the deck is good overall. Is it gonna hit the play rates that it used to? No. I think the attractiveness of the new decks, the level of fun of the new decks, like stuff like that, like kind of veer people off from these like straightforward kind of old decks. And this has been a trend for as long as Pokemon has existed. It's like the coolest deck of last format is never as cool as the new deck, right?
Yeah.
But I think the deck like strength wise is right up there. Like I don't think it's lost much of anything, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think too, like you kind of like alluded to like last time. It's like you play a lot of one-of cards in Regidrago. You're kind of just hoping to draw eventually, or like V-Star into. So the Noctowl just kind of fixes that, right? Like like get that jamming tower on the crucial turn, get that Sinnoh on the crucial turn, and like combo with what you need. So yeah, really cool. I really like the Noctowl. If I was playing Regidrago, I would definitely play a Noctowl build.
I really don't like 3 Vessel though. That does not.
Yes, that does feel bad.
Well with me.
I agree. Especially when Super Rod is your recovery instead of like playing LCR. So, but you have to make cuts somewhere, I guess. Okay, next I want to talk about Neil. I think this is like the sleeper deck for this weekend. I think it's like definitely tier 1. I don't know how much play it's gonna see. Like I'm gonna guess like 4 or 5%. But I have the Palkia Dusknoir deck. I've been playing a decent amount with it this week, and I actually think it's like insanely strong. Like its turn 2s are just awesome. Like again, like not that much mana fee, so like Greninja can like go off, and the other Greninja can go off as well with its attack. You have like even if they play mana fee, you can just go like Dusknoir, take out the mana fee, which is like a disgusting combo. Then you play like the 3 stops, 4 candy, like the 4 stretcher. You just burn through the deck. So have you played the Palkia deck? And like, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's super cool. I like it too. I think your power level is really high, right? You have the ability to kind of do anything, and I like the Greninja for typing. I think the deck is really good. I think it's in a spot where it can kind of maybe go crazy this weekend and see another top 4 or something like that.
Yep.
In terms of text, like you have a lot of space for text as well. You don't need to have all of these cards in the list right now. Like you have 3 shoes, you have like a random Poffin. Like you do have space where you can kind of. I would keep the Poffin, but you do have space where you can kind of like get flexible and do cool things with this list. So I really like it. I think it's a great sleeper pick. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like it is, I think, sleeper tier 1.
Yes.
People don't realize it yet.
If I had like how last week Tropicals was 5% day 1, like 15% day 2, I would not be surprised if Palkia does that this weekend, or it's like a 4
absolutely
5%, and it's like jumps like 10 or something. It's very good. It has the same thing as Tropicals, where like when you go first, your turn 2 is like insane. So yeah, Definitely a big fan of that. So I think we got through most of the major meta decks. I think the last ones to talk about are just like stall. So Neil, what's the better stall deck this weekend? Is it Snorlax or is it the Iron Thorns?
I like Thorns a lot. I don't think a lot of people are gonna play it, but I like Thorns a lot. I think it's in a cool spot. And you see this list on your screen too. Like, there is some room for innovation, albeit not much. Like, there is that was people's beef with Thorns, right? It's just kind of like it's a straightforward deck. It's our beef with Thorns as well. It plays itself. Like, there's not much you can do with it. But I mean, this list looks pretty cool. I think Thorns is in a spot where if you hit the right matchups, you can go maybe win worlds. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those high risk, high rewards kind of decks.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I have concern for Thorns is like you get absolutely farmed by Terrapagos. Like, that's not a good matchup. But I mean, like, if Terrapago is only 10%, like, just don't hit it, right? hit the other stuff.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think it's hard to win the tournament with Thorns just because, again, like, there's no agency for you. Like, you're just purely relying on what you hit. But, like, yeah, you can have good runs. Like, I think the deck will convert at a good rate. It's the same with Snorlax, right? It's like I think the deck, like, again, doesn't see a lot of play, but like it'll convert at like a decent rate just because it's Snorlax. And people don't know how to play against stall. But I mean, like, I don't know. The Dusknoir decks are a little annoying for Snorlax because they can like put you down in prizes and then play Iono. So that's a little annoying, but I still think the decks are both very good. Again, they won't see a lot of play just by the nature of how stall is, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Snorlax is in a decent spot as well. I just think Thorns is in a better spot.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, well, is there any deck I forgot about that you want to talk about?
We can talk about Miraidon briefly.
Oh, Miraidon, yeah, Miraidon.
That's the deck that I saw kind of picking up steam. This deck is like, you know, you can go ahead first. You go and share your thoughts, and then I'll share mine. I think it's it's an interesting one.
It's like mid Miraidon, bro. Like, it's just, I don't know. I've never liked Miraidon. I don't think it does broken enough things. I don't know, like turn one hands is cool, I guess. It's just as mediocre to me. Like, there's a lot of evolution decks too that are good against you. I'm pretty sure Terrapago is, at least from my experience, is pretty good into it. I feel like it's still bad into Raging Bolt. I don't know, but Terrapago just prize maps you. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't knock them out without benching Zapdos.
Yeah, you need to bench Zapdos.
I guess you can Bravery Charm your Zapdos so they can't go Briar. But
you can do a fair amment with this.
It's better than Raging Bolt because you can get turn one hands. If you get turn one hands on them, you actually control the game, I guess. But if you don't, I feel like you just lose.
So my take on this is like I don't know, like Miraidon's so tough to judge, man, because like you'll think you get it, and then Miraidon will just win a tournament, like, randomly. Yeah. And, like, this is one of those times where I feel like it has the potential to do that. So I played the second for a bit. The Mewtwo is cool because it opens the door a little bit to Underdepth and some other cool stuff. But I think the deck is so reliant now on you hitting gens, right? Like, ever since Flappy rotated, and I know this isn't new news, but you need to hit your gens, right? And if you're not hitting your generators, like, the deck falls apart. But I think that one person who can hit their generators and can manipulate like kind of bad spots into good ones. So like very Jesse Parker-esque where he plays this deck and it seems like he wins games that he may not have any business winning. I think when a good player picks up this deck, there's a lot of room for outplay potential. Although you might not see it on the surface here with this list, right? It's like when you're actively playing it, I think there's things that you can do that make this deck better. And I think if you can hit your generators, you can go on a long run. The deck's always kind of been that way, but I do think like the big evolution decks that are coming out now, like it is a bit of a problem. There's not a whole lot you can do into a lot of these big evolution decks, especially like Dragon Ball Charizard. But I mean, you hit the right matchups and you're laughing, and I feel like we've said that about a lot of these decks. But that is the truth about this format. Like, there's so much in terms of potential to outplay, but I think a lot of it is more Tom Roulette than it has been in recent memory, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. That's kind of the deck feels. I don't know, it's just not my type of deck, but I think I probably underrate the deck because of that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Also, Neil, speaking of Iron Thorns, you see Ian Robb got top 8 at the Magic Regionals this weekend?
I did see that. That's impressive, genuinely. Like, I am very impressed with that, because like to do that is that can't be easy.
No, like from my understanding, like their regionals, you have to qualify for it, and then he made it through some qualifier, and then got top. He was first seed going to top 8. And he made top 8 at his first major Magic event in 6 years. And this kid's
so
just
he's played before.
Yeah. But 6 years between regionals, and then you just like make top 8.
Some people are just built different, man.
Built different, man. So, no, it's his birthday weekend too. Happy birthday, Ian. Yeah, I mean, this is an insane run from Ian. We have top 8, debatably top 4 at the World Championships, top 8 at Baltimore, and then top 8 at Magic Regionals. So I mean, this is, you know what? Shout out Ian too for, like, I don't know, the Magic players always think they're better. They're like, oh, like, Magic's a harder game, whatever. I don't know, bro. Like, Magic might be a Mickey Mouse game after this weekend.
I don't know, man. There's bare allegations right now with Magic the Gathering. I don't know. Like, it seems like if a man could just walk in there and become first seed, I don't know, man. There might be some issues going on. I think, and like, all credit to Ian, but I think there was some more important news that came out this week. The Wagwan Delilah music video
Oh my goodness.
came out 6 days ago. We're not gonna react to it on live. Maybe we'll do that next week. But big news: Wagwan Delilah music video out now. It was actually really bad, but it's kind of funny. So
still haven't watched it actually. But yeah,
you haven't watched it?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's kind of like mid, but
okay.
It's like animated and really jank.
Nice.
Nothing like no like funny Toronto heritage moment happens in the video, which
okay.
I was really disappointed with because it felt like the potential was really high.
So no staying power.
No,
it's no
Nyaye.
It's not like,
it's not Nyaye is what I was gonna say. Have we played Nyaye on here before? Probably not.
No, we should not play that one. Alright, speaking of shout outs, I want to give a shout out to Viraj for winning his League Cup on the weekend. Through the power of listening to Shift Gear podcast. So lots of you guys let us know last week that listening to Shift Gear has leveled up your game. So Viraj won a League Cup because of Shift Gear, not because he played well. Literally just because of Shift Gear. So I have to give him a shout out.
That's what he said in the Shift Gear Discord. So
yes.
I mean, must be true. So I hear you have a new entry to the segment.
I do. I have it pulled up here. So yeah, last week we did the like, am I in the wrong or like, overreacting, whatever Pokemon edition. A lot of people reached out to me and said they really liked it. I think people said that they like it because it's like we'll highlight some scenarios that are awkward that a lot of newer players probably don't know what to do. Even some veterans like won't know how to navigate. So I have a new one here. They actually didn't want to be anonymous. They said I can say it's from Marsh. So Marsh, thank you for sending this in. Okay, so they said here, so I was at a challenge a few weeks ago. I was playing Charizard against Regidrago, and the Regidrago player used Ciaran against my board and gestures to my Charmander, my Pidgey, and my Radiant Charizard. Charmander gets KO'd and my Pidgey survives because of Hero's Cape. I gave him the thumbs up, he gives me a thumbs up, and I draw for turn. I start with an Arven to get stuff, but he says, no, change the damage to the Fez rather than the Pidgey. Me being the nice player I am and the challenge is all for fun, move the damage, and then that becomes my lose condition. For context, he gave me a take back early in the game, and I was lenient with him for not speaking up when I had said I was not able to hear him that well, and doing actions without gestures for letting me know. So would I have been in the wrong if I didn't let him take it back and made him keep the damage on my Pidgey?
Okay. All right. Let's unpack this. All right. So, guys, this is a tale as old as time. So, I let my opponent take back something, and my opponent also let me take back something.
Yes.
Would I have been wrong if I said no after they said yes? I think the answer is it depends on the degree of the takebacks.
Yeah.
Like, so it's one thing. Sorry, I'll just finish my thought real quick.
No, you're good.
So it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm ultra balling for Pidgey, and then you say, hey, do you mind? Like, after you shuffle a couple times, like, hey, do you mind if I just look back in my deck? I'm not going to change what I get. I'm just going to look back. Cool, go for it. I don't care, right? But then it's another thing to put 110 on a Pidgey and then be like, yo, mid-turn, like, yo, hold up. Let me change that. Let me put that on a Fez. I don't think this dude would have been in the wrong to say no here. Personally.
Yeah. Because I guess like your opponent probably took prize cards. They might have saw something that they didn't think they were gonna hit. They might change their mind. I was like, in general, my thing is like if someone lets you take something back, like I feel like you almost have to let them have like a mulligan as well. Like I feel like it's really poor sportsmanship if someone lets you take something back, then you don't let them take something back. But I guess in this scenario, it's like different because it is so after the fact. Like yeah, you're literally like playing Arven, like going through your deck. This dude took his prizes. So I don't think you would have been like in the wrong necessarily. I would have said it's a little greasy to not let him take it back since he let you take something back and it was like a challenge. Like if it was a regionals, for example, I don't think like I would feel bad.
No, in a regionals you're not indebted to let that.
Yeah. In this scenario, I think it's the right thing is like the sportsman-like thing to do is let that take back. I don't think
I have no issues with it. But I also think like so if it's the league challenge and it's me, I'm probably like analyzing the board state, analyzing like what changed here to make this guy want to move his damage. Like, did he look at his hand and immediately be like, "Nah, yeah, let me move that"? Because if that's the case, I'm saying no, respectfully. But like, I think in general, especially at a challenge, like I don't care, like whatever, just move it. I think it's one of those things where it's case by case, right? So if you look at, you can kind of read what your opponent's thinking sometimes, right? So if you look at your opponent and it seems like they just like maybe miscalculated something, maybe didn't gain any information, but maybe like miscalculated. Oh, I should have put it there. Cool, no problem. But like if I see the person gaining information then changing it, I think that's greasy. I think that's when I have an issue with it. That's when I'm like, okay, so you physically just denied the rules of the game and are trying to change up based on information you got later. And if I think my opponent's being an absolute greasehead, I'm not letting them take that back. In that case, like if I think that they're actually maliciously manipulating what's going on, yeah, I don't think I'm letting them take it back there. But at a challenge in any other situation, yeah, of course, take it back.
Yeah, I think in this, like, it didn't seem like this opponent had any like malice or anything. The only thing I'm actually curious about is like, I know you're allowed to take stuff back if you ask your opponent, but like, are you allowed to take stuff back like that after the fact, like even if your opponent's okay with it?
Good question.
So
it's a great question.
If you're a judge,
probably not.
If you're a judge, comment below if you're allowed to do that. Yeah, I would lean towards probably not, but I don't know the rule for that one. So yeah, there you go. That's our segment this week. You guys let us know in the comments your opinion on that, what you would do in that situation, if it's ethical or not to not let your opponent take that back. And again, if you have a submission, you can DM me or Aneil on Twitter, or you can put it in the comments here. Maybe we'll read it. So cool. All right, Aneil.
Awesome.
Don't have anything else pressing. I guess the last thing here I would ask is, what is your top plays for Louisville this weekend?
That's a good question. I think I have to say Dragapult legally for how much I've been pumping at Sires for the last like 3 weeks. Yeah, Dragapult's definitely up there. I really like Drago as well. Like it just seems like it just kind of does the job. Obviously Turtle. So those are probably my top 3: Turtle, Drago, Dragapult.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I want to play Turtle because I think it's really good and it's really fun, and I've been really enjoying it. But it feels almost wrong if I don't play Lugia after getting second at Baltimore. I'm like, why? Like, it's like, like, why would I switch? Type thing. So I'll be making a game time decision this weekend for sure.
It's been working for Rahul, dude.
Yeah, it has been working for. I mean, like Lugia though for a while was not working for me until Baltimore. So maybe it's like maybe it's telling me it wants me to stick with it.
So that's all like. Yeah, it's so weird how that kind of like comes and goes, right? Like it feels like Lugia works and then it doesn't work, then it works and it doesn't work. So I don't know. But the more important question is: there a Buc-ee's in Louisville, Kentucky, or near it?
Let's Google. I don't think there is. But
I feel like it's south enough that there's a chance that there is.
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's, Kentucky.
Oh, there's one in Richmond, Kentucky.
Yeah, where's that?
I don't know. Right, where's Louisville? It's like it's more south, so it's like out of the way for us to go.
Oof. I'm actually going into Nashville and driving up, so I might have a chance of hitting a Buc-ee's on the way. I would be so happy.
Where's that?
Let's see.
No, it's like the opposite direction.
No,
I mean, you guys could go. Wait, let's see how far of a drive this is. Derek, is it just called Convention Center?
Sure.
It's an hour and a half, Neil.
Hey, honestly, might be worth it for the beaver.
It's not worth an hour and a half to me, but if there was one on the way, I would definitely go. But no, I'm gonna have to unfortunately pass.
Yeah, my parents are down there right now. They're actually in Orlando. They're trying to get up before the hurricane.
Oh no!
They might go up to Buc-ee's for me. Maybe we'll see. Because they're driving up to Atlanta because like every single flight back to Toronto is canceled from Orlando. So, rented them a car. They're driving up to Atlanta. Hopefully, there's a couple Buc-ee's down there and get some. Oh, I guess I can't bring me back brisket, but I guess I can maybe get like a T-shirt or something. So I'm excited for some Buc-ee's. But we'll wrap this up. Yeah, so couple big things. If you see us this weekend, please come say hi. We love that stuff. Wear your Shift Gear bucket hats. Our dream is to look out into the worlds of the convention center and see some Shift Gear bucket hats. Hold up. Yeah. If you'd like to order one, you don't have one yet, link is in the description. And there's some sleeves down there that are pretty good as well that you can pick up if you'd like. Any other shameless plugs?
No, that's good. We did enough shilling this week. I'll save it for next week.
Yeah, I think so too. Let us know what you think is going to win Louisville Regionals. Let us know if you agree with our meta predictions. Let us know about your situations for Am I in the Wrong? We want to showcase yours, and let us know. We got some good ones in so far, so we'll keep her going. We will see you next Wednesday after Louisville Regionals. If you're going, good luck. If you're watching from home, enjoy. It's always a good time. Yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Anything else?
No.
Hey, that bucket hat's looks pretty big on your head there.
Sitting pretty, man. Over the headphones.
Sitting nice right now. All right, let's get out of here.
All right, later, guys.
See you later. Peace.